My name is Peter Maher, and they would recognize me more by voice than by face. For 34 years, I was the radio play-by-play broadcaster for the Calgary Flames, and I'll run into some people now, and they'll say to me, "Gee, I grew up listening to you." Because they were kids when they were growing up, and in their dad's car they'd be listening to hockey games. Now I keep active with doing things with the family, the grandchildren, and doing charity work here and there, and the odd podcast here and there, and the odd radio interview. All kinds of different places that it's happened. Even when I go to the Saddle Dome for a Flame game sometime, I could go into the washroom and I'll say hello to somebody, or somebody say hello to me, so I'll reply back, and they'll say, "Oh, hey, you're Peter Maher," and then I'll shake their head, and they'll carry on a conversation. If it wasn't for my mother, I don't know if I would have become the broadcaster I became. When I was growing up in Campbellton, New Brunswick, I was constantly broadcast, or just to myself but out loud, hockey. We'd play street hockey out in the backyard. We'd have the hockey game, hockey table games, and all that stuff, and I'd be doing play-by-play of that. And so one day my mother said to me, You're going to be a hockey broadcaster." She was one that was very much strong on English language being done properly, and she was often telling me, some of the better phrases to put in, not so much the hockey phrases, but to make it sound like it's good grammar. There was a softball league in my hometown, which was a big event in the city because it was a population of about 10,000 people, so it had a lot of following, and so it was right near where we lived. And my mother could hear me on the play-by-play off the loudspeaker that I was doing, and so she'd be making notes at home, and then I'd come home and she'd be giving me some advice on this, that, and the other thing. She'd always be listening, and she'd always be pointing some things out to me. And later on, when I get into play-by-play, it was much the same thing. Like I could be broadcasting a playoff series in Alberta from that my hometown team was in from New Brunswick, and the game be starting late at night, and she'd be staying up after midnight to listen to the broadcast, and she'd phone me the next day or that sort of thing. So that is a real close attachment that I had with my mother. I never noticed anything. My father never said anything, but he knew there was a problem. I never really saw any signs when I was there, but I wasn't looking for anything either. The first time that I went back down to see them, after they had moved, that's when I started to really notice that she was having a lot more difficulties. If I had known the "still me" phrase and the meaning for it, it would have helped myself and my family members dealing with my mother's situation back in the day. We were just trying to react the best we could, but you take a lot of the things that were happening personally, and but what you need to do is remember that it's still her or him. And I think that's what you have to have in the back of your mind. It is a serious issue, but you don't want to let yourself get too broken up, too depressed, or that sort of thing while dealing with it. And I think that's really, really important for family members that have a loved one that is affected by these diseases. And have that set up in your mind before your loved one comes, or you go visit your loved one. Have that set up in your mind that this is going to be a fun event. We want people who are affected by dementia to feel like they're regular people, real people. That's why we call it "Still Me." And we really like to have you folks involved in that. Get registered to it, find out more information about it, and it can be helpful for yourself and can also be helpful for your loved one that is affected by this. By going online to our website at stillme.ca. And if you do that, you can find out lots of information and put yourself and your loved one in the win column.